The buzz in the studio was electric. Jennifer Hudson's show had promised a powerful reunion of two iconic voices, Jennifer herself, the Oscar-winning powerhouse, and Chaka Khan, the legendary Queen of Funk. Fans had been waiting weeks for this segment, the promos splashed across television screens and YouTube promising candid conversation, laughs, and, if viewers were lucky, a duet that would shake the rafters. But what no one expected was how quickly admiration could turn into tension, and tension into a storm that ended with Chaka Khan walking off the stage, leaving both Jennifer and her studio audience stunned. A warm welcome turned sharp. At first, everything seemed perfect. The stage was bathed in warm pinks and purples, the audience clapping furiously as Jennifer announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, a living legend, a woman who paved the way for so many of us, please welcome the one and only, Chaka Khan." Chaka emerged in a glittering gold outfit, her signature curls bouncing as she waved. Jennifer ran up to hug her, both women smiling wide, the cameras capturing the moment for what producers surely thought would be an uplifting episode. The early questions were lighthearted. Jennifer asked about Chaka's early career, her hit, "I'm Every Woman," and the iconic collaborations that defined her legacy. The audience cheered with every mention of Whitney Houston, Stevie Wonder, and Prince. But then, the tone began to shift. The spark of disagreement. Jennifer leaned forward, her voice warm but direct. "Chaka, you've been in this industry for decades, inspiring countless artists. And I know you've been honest about how you feel about some of today's singers. Do you think the industry has changed for the better, or not so much?" Chaka tilted her head, a knowing smile creeping across her lips. "Well, Jennifer," she began, "the industry today is more about selling an image than selling talent. Back in my day, you had to sing. You had to bring something raw, something real. Now, it's all auto-tune, smoke, and mirrors." The audience gave a nervous laugh, clapping half-heartedly. Jennifer chuckled too, but her tone sharpened. "I hear you, but I don't know if I agree completely. I mean, there are so many amazing artists out there right now doing the work, putting their heart into it." Chaka's smile thinned. "Baby, talent will always rise. But let's not pretend it's the same game. You, Jennifer, you had to sing your heart out on American Idol to prove yourself. But how many get that shot anymore? Some of these kids get famous off TikTok without even stepping into a studio. That's not artistry. That's luck." The audience oohed at the remark. Jennifer shifted in her seat. The conversation heats up. Jennifer's eyes flickered with determination. "But isn't that just another way of reaching people? Times change, platforms change. Back in the day, y'all had vinyl and radio. Now we have streaming and social media. I don't think it makes the music any less real." Chaka leaned back, crossing her arms. Maybe. But I'll say this, if you put some of these folks on a stage with no mic tricks, no backing tracks, no dancers, just them and a band, half of them would crumble. That's the truth." Jennifer's smile faltered. "Well, Chaka, I think you'd be surprised. A lot of these young artists have the chops. I've shared the stage with some of them, and they deliver." Chaka raised an eyebrow, the tension palpable. "Like who, Jennifer? Who are you saying could stand toe-to-toe with real legends?" The air grew heavy. The audience sat in stunned silence, unsure if this was playful banter or the beginning of a real clash. A clash of generations. Jennifer listed a few names: Adele, Jasmine Sullivan, even some of the new voices like her and SZA. They've got the soul, the power. They're carrying the torch. Chaka chuckled, but there was no warmth in it. "Adele. Don't get me started. Beautiful voice, yes. But we put too much weight on people who aren't innovating. Soul isn't just about hitting notes, it's about moving culture. Are they doing that? Or are they just repeating what we already did?" The crowd gasped. Jennifer straightened, her voice firmer now. "With all due respect, Chaka, every generation builds on the one before. Nobody's trying to erase what you did. You are the foundation. But I don't think dismissing the new generation helps. It divides us when we should be united." Chaka's eyes narrowed. "I'm not dismissing. I'm telling the truth. If you can't handle that, maybe you shouldn't have asked me the question." The tension reached a boiling point. The audience, sensing the drama, was torn between clapping and staying silent. Producers behind the cameras were shifting nervously, wondering if they should cut to commercial. The breaking point. Jennifer tried to soften her tone. "Chaka, I think what you've given us is priceless. But don't you think we should also celebrate how music is evolving? We don't want young artists to feel like they can never measure up, that the door is closed behind legends like you. Chaka leaned forward, her voice sharp. Jennifer, let me tell you something. Respect isn't given, it's earned. And some of these artists haven't earned it. They're chasing trends, not truth. And I refuse to sit here and pretend otherwise just to be polite. Jennifer exhaled deeply, her smile forced. I respect your honesty, but... That's when Chaka pushed back her chair. The scraping sound echoed across the stage. The audience gasped. I don't need to sit here and debate with somebody who doesn't understand what I've been through, what this industry has taken from me, and what it means to really fight for music, Chaka declared, rising to her feet. Jennifer quickly stood too, reaching out a hand. Wait, Chaka, that's not what I meant. But Chaka shook her head, her curls bouncing as she turned. No, baby, I've said my piece. And with that, she walked off stage, her gold outfit shimmering under the lights as the stunned audience erupted into whispers. Jennifer stood frozen for a moment, visibly shaken but trying to maintain composure. Finally, she turned back to the camera, her voice trembling just slightly. We'll be right back after this short break, she said, forcing a smile as the screen cut to commercial. Aftermath in the studio. Backstage, tension hung thick in the air. Producers scrambled to figure out if Chaka would return for the rest of the taping. Jennifer sat quietly at her chair, sipping water, trying to regain her composure as makeup artists rushed in. Some audience members whispered that they had never seen anything like it. Others applauded Chaka's boldness, while some felt Jennifer had handled the situation with grace. What was supposed to be a celebration of music legends had turned into a viral moment of conflict, one that would dominate headlines for days to come. And as the cameras rolled on without her, Chaka Khan's words lingered in the air like smoke after a fire, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. The moment Chaka Khan stormed off Jennifer Hudson's stage, television history was made. But as dramatic as it was for those in the studio, the true explosion came in the hours and days that followed. What had begun as a tense exchange about artistry had spiraled into a cultural debate that dominated headlines, trended across platforms, and split fans right down the middle. Backstage shock. As the commercial break stretched longer than usual, producers huddled in whispered urgency. Jennifer Hudson sat quietly, her fingers clasped tightly around a water bottle, her eyes betraying both frustration and sadness. She had grown up idolizing Chaka Khan, belting out, through the fire, in her living room as a teenager, never imagining she would one day share a stage with the Queen of Funk. And now, that dream moment had dissolved into one of the most uncomfortable interviews of her career. Meanwhile, Chaka was in her dressing room, pacing the floor in her golden heels. A stylist tried to calm her down, but Chaka's voice carried through the walls. I don't regret a word, she snapped. I've been in this game too long to sugarcoat things for TV ratings. If they can't handle the truth, that's on them, not me. Her publicist, however, looked visibly nervous. Chaka, this is going to blow up. Maybe we should. No, Chaka cut in. Let it blow. Maybe it's time somebody said it out loud. Social media firestorm. By the time the episode aired later that evening, clips of the clash had already hit Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Audience members with phones had caught snippets of the heated exchange, uploading shaky videos with captions like, OMG Chaka just walked off Jennifer Hudson's show flushed. This is icon versus icon drama and I'm living for it. Nah, Chaka was too harsh. Jennifer was being respectful. The hashtags #Chaka vs Jennifer, #Queen of Funk, and #Respect the New Gen began trending within the hour. Some fans sided with Chaka. Chaka Khan spoke facts. Too many so-called artists these days couldn't last a night in the clubs of the 70s. Respect her honesty. Others defended Jennifer. Jennifer Hudson handled herself with grace. She's right, why tear down new talent when we should be lifting each other up? And then there were the memes. Images of Jennifer Hudson looking shocked next to captions like, when your idol drags Adele and SZA in front of you. Or gifs of people storming out of rooms labeled, Chaka Khan leaving Jennifer's show. Industry reactions. It didn't take long for other celebrities to weigh in. Jasmine Sullivan tweeted, "Mad love for both these queens. We all stand on the shoulders of legends like Chaka." Let's keep the convo about unity, not division. Red heart raised fist medium skin tone. Questlove posted on Instagram, watching that Chaka Jennifer clip, phew. Both right, both wrong. But at the end of the day, music should bridge, not divide. Respect to the legends, and respect to those carrying the torch. Even SZA, who had been mentioned by Jennifer during the interview, broke her silence on TikTok Live. Look, I love Chaka. She can say whatever she wants, she's earned that. But I also think it's okay to let new artists breathe without constant comparisons. We're all just trying to create. The debate quickly spilled onto talk shows and podcasts. Morning radio hosts dissected the clash, with some calling it a necessary wake-up call about authenticity in the industry, while others framed it as a generational feud that should never have happened on live TV. Jennifer speaks out. 2 days after the episode aired, Jennifer Hudson addressed the incident on her Instagram. In a carefully worded video, she sat in her living room, her tone calm but firm. First, I want to say how much I love and respect Chaka Khan. She's been an inspiration to me since I was a little girl. Having her on my show was supposed to be a moment of celebration. Things got heated, and I hate that it turned into something painful instead of joyful. But let me be clear, I will always stand up for the new generation of artists. Music evolves. It has to. And while we honor the legends, we also have to make space for the voices of today and tomorrow. That's what I believe, and that's what I'll continue to stand for. Her post garnered millions of views and widespread support, with comments filled with praise for her maturity. Chaka's response. Chaka, never one to hold back, went live on Instagram the very next evening. With a glass of wine in hand and her trademark fiery presence, she doubled down. I didn't come on that show to start drama. But I'm not gonna sit there and clap for mediocrity. I've given my life to this music, blood, sweat, and tears. And I'll be damned if I let people act like artistry doesn't matter anymore. Jennifer's talented, no doubt. But she asked me a question, and I answered it truthfully. If that makes people uncomfortable, so be it. Her fans flooded the comments with messages of support, while critics accused her of being bitter and dismissive of younger talent. A divide in the culture. Within a week, think pieces were everywhere. Rolling Stone ran a headline, Chaka Khan vs. Jennifer Hudson, generational clash or necessary conversation. Billboard asked, what do legends owe to the new generation of artists? On YouTube, commentators broke down the exchange frame by frame, analyzing Jennifer's body language, Chaka's tone, and the audience's reactions. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to the debate, turning it into a cultural moment larger than either artist had anticipated. Behind the scenes, reconciliation or rupture. Privately, producers of the Jennifer Hudson show reached out to Chaka's team, hoping to smooth things over. There was even talk of arranging a follow-up episode where both women could reconcile on air, turning the feud into a powerful lesson about respect, artistry, and unity. But sources close to Chaka said she wasn't interested, at least not yet. She feels like the narrative has already painted her as the villain, one insider revealed. She doesn't want to go back just to be the bad guy again. Meanwhile, Jennifer kept her focus on her show, but those close to her admitted she was deeply hurt. She adores Chaka. That was her hero. Having it end like that broke her heart, a staff member confessed. The lingering question. As the weeks passed, the noise slowly quieted, but the incident left a lingering question in the air. What happens when legends and the new generation collide? For some, it was a reminder that honesty, no matter how raw, is essential to preserving artistic integrity. For others, it was proof that respect and empathy must flow both ways, upward to the legends and downward to the rising stars. In the end, both women walked away with their reputations intact, but the sting of that night lingered. Fans continued to debate, memes continued to circulate, and the music industry itself was forced to reckon with the deeper issues the clash had exposed. And though no one knew if Jennifer Hudson and Chaka Khan would ever share a stage again, one thing was clear: their fiery exchange had etched itself into the history of live television, a reminder that when icons speak their truth, the world listens, argues, and never forgets.